Hello everyone, Mamie Carson here with OneJoyousSkip.com. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I am going to be using this adorable stamp set by Mama Elephant called Little Painters, and I'm going to be coloring them today with my colored pencils on some toned tan Strathmore paper. And I love doing colored pencils on top of this kind of paper because it really makes the colors pop, and it ends up with a really beautiful, vivid project in the end. And so I'm just creating my panel here with a stitched die, and then I'm going to take one of my Lawn Fawn Hillside Borders dies in order to create a bit of a curve at the bottom, just to give a little bit of give the project a little bit of something different than what I usually do, just to style it a bit, if you will, because I am so used to creating scene cards because it's easy and it doesn't take a whole lot of my brain power in order to do so. I want to make sure that I don't get complacent in making the same type of videos with scene cards. I want to make sure that I'm giving out a variety of different things that you can do. And so that's what I chose to do for this card. And as always, I do love to do a lot of masking, and so I like to use my Mini Misty in order to do that because it makes it so much easier, and you can keep your elements and your paper lined up where you want it, so it's not a stressful situation. And so I'm using some acetate here, and that's going to help me with placement in order to do this masking, because you wouldn't really be able to see where you were going to put the elements that go in his hand unless you have some kind of something to go by. And so I stamped the little bunny on this acetate, and that way I can line up the elements that will go in his hand or in front of him right on top of the acetate without actually stamping down the bunny first, because you want the elements that are going to be in the foreground to be stamped first before you stamp the bunny down. So it's harder to explain, much easier just to watch how I'm doing it to get an idea of how you can do this at home. And so now I'm going to stamp down the elements first. And I already had those placed where I needed them to go because I had that bunny aligned with the acetate. And so now I have that bunny there again because I also want to put down a little paint tube down by his feet. So easy enough for me to set him down, have it lined up wherever I want it to, and then just swing that door of the Misty over, be able to pick it up, and then whenever it comes back down, it will already know where it needs to go. So now that everything is set in place, I can put the bunny down, and I'm also going to go ahead and put down the easel. And this stamp set is just so cute. It's so many different little things that you can do with it. I did get it thinking that I would use it around Easter, but I didn't get a chance to. I ended up having too many videos already lined up, and so I created a few cards with this set already, actually, and I wasn't really happy with any of them, and then I really just wanted to use the idea of them in an artistic way. And so I think this card and this project kind of came out in the artistic way that I wanted it to, and so I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. And so now I'm going to mask all of those elements so that I can stamp that bunny right on top, and it will appear as if the things are in his hand and they're in the foreground. So I'm using this Inkadinkado masking paper, which works fine for this type of masking. So I just set all of the masking down, and now I can put the bunny on top and have him where I want him. And I can ink him up and put him right into place. And voila, it all came out really great and perfect and just the way I wanted it. So I was super excited about that. I didn't have to redo it. And so now I'm moving over into the colored pencil coloring portion, and I'm using the Prismacolor colored pencils. They're the only ones I have, so I don't have anything to compare them to, but I don't feel like I really am missing out on anything because these are really fantastic pencils, and they go on sale quite often on Amazon, and so they're a really great set to have. And so I'm using the white here to color this bunny in, because using these colors on this tone tan paper really helps them pop. And so at the end of the project, what you turn out having is just a really vivid project. And so I am going to go over it quite a bit, and so I sped it up a lot, because colored pencil, while it is an easy medium to use, it takes a little while to get the layers the way that you want them. And I didn't really want to use any Gamsol or any kind of formula to blend out these colors, so I am just using the pencils in order to do all the blending, and so that takes a little bit longer. If you would like to see a video where I use the Gamsol or I use just a mineral spirits, let me know. I can do one of those as well, but for some reason I just really like doing it this way. Even though it does take a little bit longer, I feel like the end product is very vivid. And so I've got the bunny colored up, and I'm going to finish off coloring in all of the other images as well. And then on the easel, I have those little carrots, right? And I felt like, you know, it's a little bit cutesy, and but he's a little artist, so I wanted to do something a little more artsy. And so I did use just like what I would use for a card project, a little bit of a like watercolor background behind the carrots, and then some splatter effect, which is something that us card makers have been loving this last year. And so I thought that it would be fitting to add in a little bit of that artistic element as well. And so like I was saying, this was supposed to be used for an Easter card. I didn't have time to do it in my before Easter was up, and so I thought, well, I can still use this after Easter as well. So I didn't use the chickies because I felt like that would be a little too Eastery. But this is just a bunny, and he has a love for carrots, so it's all good. And so you can use this stamp set anytime, especially for a little artist in the family, or, you know, anything like that. And so here I am doing that little background effect behind the carrots there, and I'm also going to be adding the little splatters as well. But it does take a little while to do this little blending to get it the way that I want it to look. And like I said, this video is sped up quite a bit, so it took me about, I don't know, 45 minutes or so to color this, but it's fine. I like coloring anyway, so it wasn't much of an issue. And I believe that you could probably use any colored pencils that you want to use. I have the Prismacolors, and those are the only ones that I have. But if you only have like Crayola, or you just have whatever, I still urge you to try it on this toned tan paper, because you will get a vivid look no matter what type of pencils you're using, just because of the way that it pops off of the background color. So give it a try anyway, even if you don't have the Prismacolors. And while I'm on the subject, all of the supplies that I use in this video will be in the description box below. I've had some people that still ask me where they can find certain products. And so for people that are new to YouTube, if you might be on your phone, or you might be on an iPad and you're not on a computer, underneath this video will have the title of the video, and next to the title on the right will be like a small arrow. It's actually like just a triangle, and you push that little triangle and it'll give you a drop down box, and inside of that box, that's called the description box. At the bottom of that box, if you'll scroll down, has where the supplies are listed, and so they are all linked up, ready to go. You just click on them and it'll take you right to where you can find these products if you would like to purchase them yourself. So also, I love for you guys to subscribe to my channel. And in order to do that, if you are watching this video on social media, it doesn't usually pop up right away. But if you'll go to my actual page in YouTube, which is just searching Mamie Carson in YouTube, and you'll hit that little red subscribe button. That helps me out tremendously, because then I know how many subscribers I have and how many projects I need to get out based on how much anticipation there is. If I have more subscribers, then I really want to make sure that I get on it and get these videos out there, because I have people that are wanting to see these videos. And if you comment and you let me know what you like, I can make more of those types of videos as well. And yeah, so if you like this video, that always helps as well for the YouTube world to know what kind of videos that you like, and it helps all of us out in the end. So make sure you do that for a fellow crafter in the community, and I appreciate it so much, you guys. Oh, and finally here I am taking a black, this is the new pen that I had picked up at a recent haul video that I had talked about, and it is the Zig Photo Signature, and I just wanted to try it out, see how it worked. And I'm going over the outline of the entire image, because you lose a little bit of your outline when you're coloring with colored pencils. That's just the nature of it. And this pen worked out pretty good. The jury's still out on if this pen is great or not. It works well, but I haven't tried it with anything yet, like water or Copic or anything like that, so I'm not really sure, but so far so good. And now I have this piece of watercolored cardstock here that I made a while back. I was just playing with some different colors, and so I just smushed on some colors, and you can just create your own watercolor background in any old way that you want. And I picked one out of my stash, and I was like, hey, I think this might work. So I used that. I cut it down a little bit so that I would have the colors that I wanted to really showcase at the bottom. And so I used my stitch dies to cut that out as well. And now I'm just kind of deciding where I want it to be. And I also needed to cut down the card itself, because I wanted the card to be a little bit shorter, so there wasn't so much blank space. And there are videos all over YouTube that you can find how to make watercolor backgrounds like this one that I made. But if you would like for me to make one, just let me know. Comment below, and I will make sure to show you guys how I make mine. Not very different than anybody else, really. I'm using some double-sided tape here, because this watercolor panel can warp through getting moisture and drying, etc. And so I want to make sure it's stuck down nice and tight there. And I'm just going to line that up, and I'm going to pop up this little panel after I stamp a sentiment. And so that was like an afterthought, and I was like, okay, what sentiment do I need to use? And I remembered I had this one by Lawn Fawn that I love. I love this sentiment, and just not only what it says, but I love the way it looks as well. And so I couldn't get it to fit right, and I was like, you know what, this is an artsy card. I can put this wherever I want it. And so that's exactly what I did. I put it up in the corner. Luckily, it's kind of in a little bit of a triangle shape anyway, the little sentiment. And so it worked out perfectly. I think it looks good there. And I had a really great time making this card. And I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that as well, because it does take VersaFine a little bit of time to dry. And so to speed that up, you just throw a little bit of embossing powder on top of it and heat it up, and it'll be dry, and you can mess with it and touch it without worrying about smearing, because I am the worst about smearing ink. And you will see my head quite often, because I am so blind. So sorry about that and my frizzy hair. You know, that's just the way it is. So now I'm popping up my card here with some foam tape, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And that's pretty much going to wrap up the card. Like I said, I really loved making this card. This little set was so sweet. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you'll wait till the end of the video, you'll have a still shot of the final project. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again for stopping by.